I'm with Havoc. I'm with Havoc.
They're coming up.
Yeah, they're coming. They're coming.
Psycho killer. Go psycho killer here. He's by himself.
Fuck, he's gonna throw his. Oh fuck.
Left. He's alone.
Outside the dark.
Right. On me.
He's blind. He's blind. Turn around.
Hello. What the fuck are you guys doing?
I need heal.
Take him and get so.
Behind.
So.
Hello, behind. Skill guy.
Yeah, he's right here. He's on.
Turn around.
Nice. I'm popping Medkit. I need to make it from somebody.
Medical assistance needed.
He's hurt. Yo, what was fucking up, bro? With the yeah, buddy. Good job, boy. Yo, what if you saved my ass? Yo, Havoc, you're calling so much shit out, but there's so many people. Like, there's 2 people in front of us and 2 people behind us. We can hold left and right. Yeah. I like this because we can. Let them do that thing. I have no make hits, guys. So, just so you know.
Left side.
Call the name. Oh, yeah, I see. Pop it. Thank you.
See, one more man here.
What the freak is this?
The phone. They're on the phone. Guys.
Oh, shit, bro. That's what they. Yo, GG's. So a lot of you guys might be asking, what build was that, right? Because obviously it had the DPS to do damage to players, right? But it also had some survivability. And in that first clip, we had no healer, right? So sometimes we have healers, sometimes we don't. It just depends on what we happen to be running at the time. But yeah, like at this clip, we have a healer, so I can push, be a little bit more aggressive. Obviously, in that other clip, we didn't have a healer, so I have to play a little bit more, not as aggressive, but still be able to help control the battle, right? Because obviously I have a lot of damage on me, and if I have a lot of damage, I got to use it, right? So that's what we were using in the first clip, and in this clip, you can see it's kind of funny. One of the guys actually ran out of ammo, right? He called it out. He's like, yo, I'm out of ammo. So I was having to really do all the damage here. They had a healer keeping them up. So the trick here is I was looking for the healer, trying to down them. But overall, like the build, the way I have it spec'd out, I have enough survivability to not have to really rely on Unbreakable, which you typically see in the Division 2 Dark Zone. Unbreakable is one of those pieces that a lot of people run because it gives them that little bit of survivability that they need to win those fights, right? But in this build, you guys can see, you're gonna see that I have no kind of Unbreakable. But let's get into it. Let's talk about it. So you guys might have guessed it. Yeah, we were running the Kingbreaker as our primary. The reason why is because it just has a lot of damage, right? And what the Kingbreaker does is it has a special talent, Perfect Flatline. So on this build itself, it has 117,000 damage, 650 RPM, 50 round mag. Now, you would think we would be running more reds on this blue based on that number right there, but we technically only have 1 red, 5 blues, sitting at about 1.9 million armor. Now, we do have this weapon at 20 expertise, and that means that we're getting 20% extra weapon damage on the weapon itself. We do have 15% assault rifle damage, 21% health damage, and 10% damage to targets out of cover. And then obviously I did mention Perfect Flatline amplifies weapon damage by 20% to pulsed enemies. After 2 kills, applies pulse to the next enemy you hit. So we're gonna get that amplified 20% weapon damage to pulse enemies, and that's what's good. And that's why we do use the specialization of the technician, because it gives us that link laser pointer so we don't have to really run a pulse. Now we have critical hit chance on here, a 20 round mag, and then we have critical hit chance on the muzzle itself. For the mask, we're running the Fender's mask. What the Fender's mask is going to do is going to give us 10% assault rifle damage. It also gives us 170,000 armor rolled on here. We have crit damage, crit chance, and a crit chance mod. We're going to be sitting around 50% crit chance at the end of this. I'll show you those numbers in just a second. This mask is at 16 expertise, so I'm getting additional 16% armor from this mask. For the chest, we're running the closer chest piece. We get 5% total armor on here. We have 170,000 armor. We have critical hit damage, critical chance, and a critical hit damage mod. This one is at level 20 expertise, so we get 20% armor on the chest piece right here. Now, if you look at it, we have perfect spotter, amplifies total weapon damage and skill damage by 20% to pulse enemies. And that's why we're able to hit so hard, even with only having one red, but we make it up by running stuff like the Fenris, then running, you'll see in a second, the Picaro's holster. Yes, I mentioned it, the Picaro's holster. This one gives us armor, critical damage, and then you remember it runs with 15% weapon damage. So ideally we do have an additional red right here. And if you think about it, if you remember, our Kingbreaker had 20% expertise, plus our Fenris had 10% assault rifle. So technically we had 2 more reds right there, right? So on this build, realistically, we have 4 reds and 5 blues, which that's why we tend to hit a little bit harder, especially since we're pulsing those enemies and amplifying our base weapon damage. We go for the Fox pair knee pads. This is going to give us 8% damage targets out of cover. This is multiplicative. We also have critical damage on here, and then we have armor rolled. This piece is also 20% expertise, so this piece itself gets a boost on the 99,000 armor of 20%. We have the contractor gloves with that armor, damage to armor, and then critical damage. Obviously the 8% damage to armor is multiplicative, so there you guys go. That's why we're running it there. And then finally we are running the Grupo Soma. That's going to give us additional 15% critical damage. We have weapon damage, 20% extra armor on this piece right here with critical damage, critical chance, and then a critical hit chance mod. Now we go down, increases total weapon damage by 25%. So that's why when we have this active and we have that right total weapon damage, and then we're amplifying that with the perfect spotter and then perfect flatline, you get a lot of weapon damage, and that's why it is actually really good. Now, if you plan on running this build in a lot of closer situations, if you're not a good play style, maybe stepping a little bit back, as you guys saw in the gameplay, I push it a little bit back sometimes. I go to the right. I pick and choose where I line up. Just the play style of this build, because you don't have unbreakable like most players run, so you got to make sure you land your shots first so you end up with that advantage to win those fights. Now, vigilance will be active as long as you don't take those shots, but if you lose those, then you don't have it. So companion might be better if you have always a person next to you, or if you're running some type of skill, that might be a little bit better for you. Or if maybe your teammates are running some type of status effect, then you could even put Wicked on, right? A lot of different ways for you guys to do this, but what I will tell you is, for me, I really like vigilance on this, just for this build. It's just how I run it. I like it. It works with my play style, and it's just how I've been running it. If we go over to the stats, just to show you real quick, 50% crit chance like I wanted, and then if my teammate's running a Coyote's mask, remember, I'm going to gain more critical hit damage if he's closer. If he's further away, I might get more crit chance, so I'll be maxed. We're at 144% crit damage, 75% headshot damage. We have the 8% armor damage. You remember that 18% damage targets out of cover, because the 10% on the weapon, 8% on the knee pads, and then 21% health damage. So a lot of damage we're getting from this build, even sitting at 1.9 million armor. If we go down, you'll see we're almost there, right? We're 16,000 from getting exactly 1.9 million. We're 1,884,000. So I want to push this up. If I get 22 on everything, or 21 on everything, I should be up there. So ideally, I want to at least get this where it shows 1.9 million. And that's what I'm kind of going for with the build. But yeah, that's the build right there. I typically swap out my skills depending on what you're running in a group. Sometimes I'll run the pulse for the team. Sometimes I'll run the booster hive. It really depends. And then I usually get to run one skill that kind of benefits me. I kind of like, since I am running a build like this, decoy works great, right? Because I drop the decoy, allows me to move around without them knowing exactly where I'm at. Boom, I can get the advantage, drop them, help the team out, and then we push. And ideally, that is typically how I run this build. I'm gonna tell you, this isn't for everybody. This build definitely has, if you're getting shot in the back and you turn around and there's someone with Unbreakable and they have a high DPS, the chances of you surviving that probably won't happen. It's just the way Unbreakable works. It gives them that slight edge. But if you boom both start shooting at the same time, you can most likely out DPS them to go through their Unbreakable and drop them even before you die. So just how I like playing this build is probably one of my go-to builds right now in the DZ. I do run multiple builds depending on who I'm fighting, what I'm fighting, what kind of builds I'm fighting. I do switch my builds up a lot. But this one right here happens to be one of my favorites, and I don't think I've put in this version of this build out on this channel or my other channel. So hopefully you guys enjoy this. It's definitely one of my go-tos. But yeah, this is it. Hey, I'll see you guys in the next one. Hey, nothing but skills out.